Relationships can be super challenging with coworkers, lovers, friends, family members, kids. I get it. I used to be a psychotherapist and I would hear lots of different dynamics and stories. But one of the most powerful tools and perspectives I learned from that profession was around projections. You may have heard of projections or you may not, but either way, it's super complex. So I want to share with you 3 practical ways that you can look at projections in your life to have more fulfilling and connected relationships in your life, whether personally or professionally. Early on in our lives, we learn from our parents or society what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And of course, we want to feel loved, and so we deny parts of ourselves that aren't acceptable. So for example, if we're raised in a household where anger wasn't okay, then of course we're still going to feel angry, but when it comes up, we're going to suppress it or deny it. And this is an ego defense. But when we do this, we can't see it in ourselves. It's like a smoke and mirrors. Like it's hard for us to see our own projections at times. And so we put it outside of ourselves and it's easier to see out there. But think of projection as a movie projector. It's in us and then we project it onto different situations and people. So projections can be positive and negative. We can project great aspects about ourselves and negative. And I've talked a lot about owning your light, really embodying your brilliance and your power, not just looking outside, putting other people on a pedestal. Because again, anytime you see it in somebody else, it's mirroring to you an aspect of yourself. You spot it, you got it. And so I want to make sure that you really have a process to walk yourself through, really claiming your inherent value and goodness in the world. And so you can check out how to stop comparing yourself in another video that I do. But also owning our shadow is just as important. It helps us feel more empowered. It helps us feel more whole and integrated in our lives so that we can have healthier, more connected, loving relationships. And so I'll walk you through a process of how you can take yourself through working through any shadow projections, any sticky relational stuff that can come up in your life. So there are 3 main ways that I'll share with you, just so you have a model and a template to help break down projections within inside yourself. You can see things a little bit more clearly. So let's just take, for example, maybe you judge a lot of people as selfish. So the 3 types of projections that I'll walk through are I am doing this in some way in my life and I judge that about myself. The second way is I wish. I wish, if the example were selfish, I wish I could be more assertive or take more time for myself, but I judge them as selfish. But underneath, it's an undeveloped part of ourselves. I really wish I could have more of that. Maybe not in the same ways that they're doing it, but I wish I could do more of that. And then the last one is I could. And I have the potential within me to do the very same thing that I'm judging in somebody else, right? It takes us off of a position and has more compassion. Given our primal nature, our animal nature, if I were in the same exact situation, I could absolutely do that as well. So I am, I wish, and I could. So I'll share with you a vulnerable, more intimate story in my own personal life, and then I'll share with you a professional story. So I had an acquaintance stay with me at my house, and I work from home. And she came into the house and started making videos of herself and just making herself very much at home. And my mind was saying, I need really undistracting space to work. I was starting to build up some type of resentment. I felt a little bit closed, and my bad was that I didn't speak that, but I had charge on it. And anytime we have charge on something, that just means that it's a trigger and it's a projection, right? Positive or negative, it's something in us to look at. And so I didn't bring it up to her because I wanted to look at what the deeper thing is for me. And I had an insight that I was raised not to take up space, not to get in the way, to be really easygoing and chill. And when I looked at what the projection was, I could see that, okay, so I wish I could be more assertive in my life and make myself feel really at home places a little bit more. So I used this example from her to teach me how I could do that more. And then I didn't feel so upset with her. Like I got it, the realization came forward. I was like, oh, this was really helpful. I used it rather than it using me. And then I actually felt closer to her. So that's the I wish. That was the undeveloped part of me. I would do it a little bit differently, but oh, I could see how she's got that developed. I am. Okay, where am I selfish in my life? Or where do I take up a lot of space? Oh, in my relationship. I'm very clear with what my needs are in my relationship, and unconsciously I've judged that, so I can forgive any judgments that I've had about that. And as I forgive any judgments, it starts changing the dynamic outside in my life. And I could. Absolutely. I could see how if I let that part of me be more developed, more of my desirous, primal, not so considerate of others, be exaggerated, I could absolutely do the same thing. And so I don't need to judge her, but I could use it to learn from it. And I'm not saying not to set boundaries. We absolutely share with people what works for us, what doesn't. But when we don't have the charge on it so much emotionally, it's delivered so much more gracefully and easier for them to hear. On a professional note, I had a woman come to one of my events, and she was really upset and stuck in a lot of drama about this new hire that she really helped groom and gave ideas to, and she ended up taking the position that she was working really hard to get. And so she felt really cheated, and she felt like this woman was selfish and just went for her own needs and abandoned her relationship with her and what she was actually trying to help her with. So she was stuck in this story, and there was nothing to do at this point. The other woman had already gotten the job. So I supported her in letting go of the drama so that she could just learn from it and still go for what she wanted, but without so much of the energy behind it. So we walk through these 3 types of projections, right? I wish. She got to see that she really admired how this woman took leadership for her life and took initiative for what she wanted to create. I am. She looked at how are all the ways that she is selfish in her life. She could see that she was actually being kind to this new hire. She was really trying to help her and other people in her life because she likes to be valued. And she thinks being valued is by helping other people, that if she's nice to other people, then they'll like her. So she could see she does it with an agenda, right? It's selfish. And then 3, I could. So she was able to see, okay, after she got off some of her position and she was a little bit more open-hearted and minded, she could see that if she was really hungry, if this part of her was more developed, she could be in the same situation. And so for her, she got to really use this to learn from it, to grow herself and not to get stuck in the drama. And this is about taking action, but you don't have to get caught up in all the emotionality around it. And actually, when you take care of the emotionality, you're more effective, you're more communicative, you're more productive as a result. Again, a trigger is your internal state and behavior is your action, 2 separate things. And just to be really clear, people don't make us feel a certain way. They activate what's already inside of us. So it's similar to knocking on a door. It's in us and it's like, hello, I'm selfish and I'm being triggered, and now this is the opportunity to clear it. It's a gift for us to see parts of ourselves that we haven't integrated yet. And we can be a victim to the situation, or we can say, I'm so glad this came up. How can I integrate this and use this so that other people can't activate this within me again? And so take the analogy of a hook. If you're upset because people keep hanging their jacket on this hook of yours, then your responsibility is to look at what is it activating, what is it creating upset with me and about, what is that hook? And if you clear that, nobody can put their hook on it anymore, right? There's 2 ways to live. You can, for one, try to manage life so that you don't get upset and people don't put their things on your hooks. Or 2, you can really go to the root directly within yourself and heal that hook so that you're not available for people to trigger those unresolved aspects within you. And I know that you're willing and ready to make changes in your life. That's why you're watching a video like this, and I love that about you. So what I know is that as soon as you start making empowered choices to clear things from the root within inside of you, 2 things will happen. And it's kind of like magic. The first thing is you'll notice that people just don't trigger you the same way anymore. You've really resolved it from the root. Same situation may come up, but you're not triggered by it. Or, second thing, less of those situations even come up in your life. It's like you got the deeper gift that it was here to help integrate within your own system, your own psyche, so you feel whole and you're welcoming all parts of yourself in a really healthy, integrated way. And so again, I want to support you. If you're triggered in your life, look at, is one of these 3 things playing out in my current situation? Is it I'm doing this to them, I'm doing this somewhere else in my life? And if so, forgive those judgments. We are the ones that let ourselves free. So by doing the forgiveness work, we can let that go. Or is it, I wish I could develop parts of what they're doing. Maybe not the same way that they're doing it, but I wish I could develop parts of myself to be more assertive or to take action and really go for what I want. We can, again, let go of the judgment and take the feedback within the I wish. Or the I could. Do you see that you have the potential within you to do the very same thing given the exact situation? And if we're open-minded enough, we can find it. All relationships are a mirror showing us how we can love ourselves more fully. Every single person is reflecting to us aspects within us. And as we open to integrating and welcoming all parts of ourselves, we feel more whole, we feel more vital in our relationships. We feel happier, and everyone can be a teacher if we use it that way. And so if this can support somebody that you know, feel free to share it with them. Let them know that you are here for them. We are truly in this together.